The Georgia Laws of Life Essay Contest is a program for the nonprofit Georgia Rotary District Character Education Program, acronym GRDCEP. There are similar Laws of Life contests across the nation and internationally, but Georgia has the largest Laws of Life in North America, and we are the second in the world next to China. The Laws of Life Essay Contest is a statewide essay character values-based contest for high school students. The contest asks students to select a law of life, wise saying or quote, and write an essay on how the maximum applies to their lives. 49 schools across the state participated this year. Nearly 40,000 Laws of Life essays was written by Georgia students. That is a huge accomplishment. This year, more than $17,000 is being presented by the Georgia Laws of Life Essay Contest in student and teacher award money. Each grade level winner receives a $50 cash award. The Laws of Life Essay Contest is a character education and ethical literacy program for high school students from grades 9 through 12. The contest asks students to select a laws of life or maximum such as honesty is the best policy or to give is better than to receive, and to write a personal essay explaining how it applies to their life. The program challenges students to reflect upon core values such as perseverance, generosity, courage, compassion, and it rewards those students who are willing to take a stand for their beliefs. The Laws of Life Essay Contest helps build stronger community and school ties by enabling educators and community members, such as ourselves, to work side by side on a positive and affirmative activity.
Okay, now it's my privilege to be able to invite some of our students up to be able to read their essays and let y'all get an opportunity to hear the essays that they wrote. So we're going in alphabetical order. Let's see. So I won't mess up her name. Your last name is Pena. Oh. Okay, she'll be the first one. Come up and read your essay.
My name is Rotary, and this is my essay. My Laws of Life quote was, "There are always flowers for those who want to see them." The white glare of the fluorescent light in the doctor's office wrote out the words, Harvard University. I stared at the diploma mounted high on the wall. It looked down on me. Its holiness was a stark contrast to the girl before it, with the light blue plastic gloves, disinfected in hand and eyes weighed down by boredom. I snapped back to reality and rushed to the bathroom my mom had told me to finish cleaning. As I emptied out the white mounds of toilet paper from the trash, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I peered into my eyes and saw the glimmer of the overhead light in them, wondering if the American dream felt like working on a Friday in an upscale clinic your family couldn't afford to go to. At first, when I had heard my mom tell my sister about the overtime job opening, she mentioned how it wasn't a lie. It was a little extra money that we really needed. I recall the nights it would work, cleaning, scrubbing, spraying, vacuuming. A luxury clinic from 6 to 10 p.m. while I would stay at home with my baseball bat cradled in my arms, the TV being the only human presence to console me. They would return hollowed and hungry. This night, it was my turn to help them clean. I looked away from the mirror and took the trash out the bathroom, feeling the shame materializing in my stomach as I strolled along the clinic's long hallways of crisp white walls and stainless glass, telling me I didn't belong here. It felt sickening to stand under a Harvard diploma and wipe the tables under its rule, to feel lesser than a sheet of paper, to see your mother carry a literal weight upon her shoulders, a giant trash bag on her back, picking up a mess she would never have the privilege of making. As we collected the trash bins, I envisioned the clients that would occupy the space. They probably had picket fences and 3-story homes. They probably went through life never obstructed by school lunch fee and missing a school field trip because you knew you couldn't afford it. Once we were finally done collecting all the trash, wiping all the tables, vacuuming all the floors, we locked up and drove out of Atlanta, past shimmering towers and effervescent bulbs of luminescence. I glanced at my mother in the mirror, whose thin silhouette was outlined by the glowing lights of the city. She reminded me of the towers we passed, standing tall and sturdy, unwavering. The sight made me think of the quote, "There are always flowers for those who want to see them," by Henry Matisse. I thought of all the heartbreak she felt migrating to a country where she was a stranger. I thought of the coarse, caring hands that had braided hair and at the same time fixed air conditioners and hammered nails. All this time I was seeing beauty in the clinic, but I failed to realize the beauty of what my mother was doing. Yes, there was worth in a diploma, but there was more worth in what my mother was doing for us. Even if this job left her tired and hungry, she did it because she wanted to create something better for us than what she had lived through. I was looking at this job as shameful, at all the ways I was lesser, but I failed to see that my mother was sacrificing herself for both me and my sister. At once, I saw the flowers, the beauty and the worth in all that cleaning. I appreciated what I had. It wasn't conventional, but it surely wasn't inferior. When we got home, I saw the frames of family photos mounted high up on the wall. I saw my mother clutching my sister in her lap. I saw the white lights of the family room casting holy glow in her eyes. Hope and beauty was what she saw the day she migrated to this country, and hope was what I felt that point on.
Can we give her another round of applause? Is your teacher here? Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to Ms. Smith.
Hello everyone, my name is Mary Smith and my Laws of Life quote was, "Learn from your mistakes." I hear this quote so often. My parents usually say this when you make a mistake in your life and you don't want to do it again. The hardest lesson I ever learned was from one big mistake I made. One mistake in my life was when my dad told me never to drive anyone's car or not let them drive your car. I would tell him all the time, he would tell me this all the time. I didn't listen to him. One day, I was leaving from the OC campus and my best friend wanted me to drive her car to meet her and my sister at the Quick Trip gas station. Before I took the keys, I remember what my dad told me. I thought, hey, nothing's gonna happen. There was 4 of us in the car. As soon as I was pulling out, a bus was coming my way. I reversed full speed into another car behind me without looking back. The first thing that came to mind was, what did I hit? I turned around and I saw I ran into a car behind me and reversing. I got into the car and looked at the damage on both cars. I was devastated. I called my sister and told her that I hit another car. She thought it was a joke at first, until I had to tell her to come back to the OC campus. I called my best friend's mom to tell her that I wrecked her car. She was very heated. She made me drive. She made her way to the campus and looked at what happened. The police took our names down and took the other person's name down as well. The officer took my insurance card and my driver's license. My best friend's mom asked the police what happened. She was very mad at my best friend because she was told the exact same thing my dad told me. After everything was done, I called my dad and told him what happened. He told me never to drive anyone's car again because things like this happen. As this passed, I ended up owing my best friend $500 deductible. This story was a life lesson because when learning from your mistake, I disobeyed my parents, and as a result of that, I wrecked my best friend's car. Also, listen when someone tells you something is for a reason. Parents know everything because they admit to everything they tell us. Learning from your mistakes can be tough unless you are wise enough to realize the mistake. When learning from a mistake, it only takes one time to know what you can do to change it. Also, sometimes it could be hard. Thank you.
Can we give her another round of applause? And can you make sure you text my son that part about listening to the parents? Okay, now we're going to have Ms. Williams come and speak.
Hi, my name is Patra Williams, and my quote is, "Victory is the sweetest when you've known defeat," by Malcolm Forbes. As I wait in the beaming heat for my next chance to jump, I can feel the rushing of my adrenaline. My heart is pounding as I sit on the inner field, staring at the black and yellow high jump pit in front of me. At this point of the intense competition, there are about 5 or 6 girls still jumping. I zone out and am amazed by this large stadium that seats many people. Suddenly, I look up and see the vibrant banner that reads, 2017 GHSA Track and Field State Championships. Everyone is filled with energy. Their confidence is at an all-time high for making it to this remarkable track meet. With about 4 more girls in the competition, I see one of my competitors effortlessly jump the height of 5 feet and 2 inches. The competition is starting to heat up as the bar is raised to the challenging height of 5 feet and 4 inches. I am the first girl to attempt this tricky height. I get up from the field as I hear my name being called by the man in a black baseball hat. He looks at me and says, "You're up." Approaching the high jump area, I feel as if I'm having a complete stare down with the yellow bar at 5 feet and 4 inches. I tug at my shorts. Everyone is watching for my next move. In that quick moment, I have a flashback to my performance at the previous year's state track meet. The feeling of disappointment and defeat began to blur my vision as if it was yesterday. I started to recall the meet. I was a freshman in high school. I was nervous to be in such a huge competition. Things weren't looking too good for me. I missed several heights, which I knew I could jump. My mind was full of my previous success in the high jump since the 6th grade. However, this track meet felt very, very different. I felt anxious and began to get frustrated as I couldn't clear a simple height of 5 feet. At the end of this competition, I remember looking up at my name on the jumbo screen and close to last place and feeling heartbroken. I immediately gaze out of my upsetting daydream of the past. I take a deep breath and jump like never before. Beautifully, I jumped 5 feet and 4 inches. I had something to prove. I hear the cheers and screams of my parents, coaches, and sister as I cheerfully get off the high jump pit. After I conquered this challenging height, everyone, including myself, knew the competition was over. I feel ecstatic and overwhelmed as I see everyone cheering for me. I joyfully walk over to the awards podium, my eyes immediately locked on the words that say first place. I shake the announcer's hand and receive a big gold first place medal that reads 2017 GHSA High Jump State Champion. Moments later, I say to my mother, words can't describe how I feel right now. As I'm walking with my family, I see a man in a red polo shirt walking towards me. He stops and I hear the words, "Hi, I'm a coach from North Carolina State University." I feel grateful and as if my hard work has paid off. At this moment, I knew my life was about to change and good things were coming my way.
Okay, at this time, Dr. Swanson, I need you to join me because your students did such a wonderful job. Past President Lawson, I need you to join me also. I'm gonna let y'all step on that side because he said it looks better near that flag. Okay. Unfortunately for the students, there won't be a bunch of suspense because Dr. Swanson sent out the calling post and the announcements all throughout the school week, so they already know who's about to receive the awards, but for the club members and for the public, it'll be some suspense going on. So what we're gonna start at first, let's see, Miss Pena Pope. Miss Pena, you can come up please. And we're about to present you, it said Laws of Life Essay Contest, Honorable Mention, and Miss Claudia and your principal will present you with that. Okay, our 12th grade winner was Ms. Smith. Our 11th grade winner was Ms. Williams. Now I need you to stay right there. Stay right there. Okay. Also, the school-wide winner was Ms. Williams. Somebody steal some thunder since she won in North Carolina State. Again, I think we need to give all of our young ladies a round of applause and a standing ovation.
Hello, how you doing? All right, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our guest speaker for the evening. And let me read her bio, and I think I'll read every word of it. What do you think? All right. We have the honor of meeting Chief Judge Courtney Johnson, who's a DeKalb County Superior Court Judge. Judge Johnson is a lifelong resident of DeKalb County who grew up in Decatur and graduated from Woodworth Academy in College Park, Georgia. She has a bachelor's degree in government from Georgetown University, which is in Washington, D.C., and a law degree from Emory University, which is here in Atlanta, in fact, in DeKalb County, if you will. Judge Johnson began her career in the Solicitor General's office as an advocate for victims of domestic violence, and eventually hired as an assistant solicitor prosecuting misdemeanor offenses. Prior to taking the bench, she also served as a senior assistant district attorney in DeKalb County, prosecuting individuals charged with committing serious felony offenses. As a Superior Court judge for the past 8 years, Judge Johnson has continued her commitment to the community by serving as a mock trial judge and hosting high school interns in her chambers every summer. Judge Johnson also serves as judge on the DeKalb County Drug Court, one component of DeKalb County Accountability Court program, which also includes Mental Health Court and Veterans Court. The DeKalb County Drug Court is a 2-year judicially supervised drug treatment and alternative sentencing program, which serves nonviolent felony level offenders whose criminal behavior is driven by drug addiction. On January 1, 2017, Judge Johnson assumed the role of Chief and Administrative Judge of DeKalb County Superior Court and is responsible for overseeing the daily, effective, and efficient administration of the court. Judge Johnson understands the importance of having someone on the bench who not only knows the law, but is compassionate, competent, and able to apply it equally to all the citizens. She has always treated those who appear before her as a prosecutor or as a judge with fairness, with dignity, and with respect. And I give you Judge Johnson, Judge Courtney.
I always wonder how do I live up to that introduction. But I first want to thank the South DeKalb Rotary for inviting me to come and speak to you all this evening. I was excited when I learned that this was a contest about literacy and reading, because I think that my connection to literacy and reading books as I was growing up is the reason that I became a judge and a prosecutor before taking the bench. As you heard, I am the Chief Judge of the DeKalb County Superior Court. And as a judge, my job is essentially to listen to both sides of the case, listen to the arguments presented by the attorneys, and then make a ruling. I often explain my job as I'm sort of the referee in the courtroom. And like a referee on a sports field, instead of blowing a whistle or throwing a flag, I make a ruling. Now, prior to taking the bench, I also served as an assistant solicitor and assistant district attorney. And as an assistant district attorney and assistant solicitor, my job was to represent the state of Georgia in court and to make arguments before the judges and the juries and argue why they should decide the case in the state's favor. When I thought about speaking to you about the connection between literacy, reading, and my experience in the court system, I realized that it was my love of books and reading that helped me to find my voice and led me to where I am today. As a young girl, one of my most favorite things to do was to read a good book or to visit the library on the weekends to pick out books. Now, my library when I was growing up was the Scott Cameron Library on Cameron Road in South DeKalb. And the library is in a different location now, but I still remember spending Saturdays at the library reading books and picking out books. And it was my love of books and learning how other people communicated, authors communicated through reading books that helped me to find my voice. Because as a young girl, I will have to admit that I was very introverted and very quiet. Not a high jump winner or as articulate as some of you have been today. But I was really shy and quiet. And so by reading and listening to how other authors express themselves, I was able to find my voice. Now, one of the things that was so important to be able to do when I was an assistant district attorney was to be able to communicate with the jury and explain to them what the facts of the case were, what the law was, and why they should decide the case in the state's favor. And what I also had to learn how to do was not only to communicate, but to do so persuasively. And that's one of the things that you learn through reading and seeing how other authors and other writers like you all communicate, is how do you find the words to get across what you're actually trying to say. Now, I want to share with you all one of the probably most unique closing arguments that I gave as an assistant district attorney. The case that I was trying involved an individual that was charged with selling drugs to an undercover police officer. And part of the case was that all of this was on tape. It was all recorded. So there was no way for the individual to say it wasn't me or I didn't do it. So the defense had to find a way to sort of explain this conduct without admitting that he had actually committed anything wrong. So, of course, the defense was entrapment, right? So, as I'm going through the trial, we're listening to witnesses and evidence, and as the trial closes out, I start to think, how am I going to describe what the law is of entrapment to a jury so that they would decide the case in my favor? Now, as the trial was finishing up, I happened to be driving home. I was on Ponce de Leon Avenue, downtown Atlanta. I stopped at the light, I looked to the right, and what did I see? Krispy Kreme. Now, I love Krispy Kreme donuts just like the next person, okay? And when I turned and I looked to the right, and the red hot light was on, I did what anybody else in my situation would do. I made a right turn into the parking lot, went inside the Krispy Kreme and bought a couple of donuts. So as I'm sitting there eating my donuts and I'm thinking about my case, thinking about the closing argument that I have to give the next day, it comes to me. My argument is going to be Krispy Kreme, okay? So I go back to court the next day, and as I stand up to talk to the jury, I tell them about my unexpected trip to the donut shop and how when I saw that red hot light, it was like a beacon that made me go into that Krispy Kreme. But what I explained to them was that I had no more been entrapped into going in and buying donuts than that defendant had been selling drugs to the police. Because let me give you a little bit, and Commissioner Adams knows this as a former police officer, the law on entrapment is that as long as the police are not doing anything other than providing an opportunity for an individual to do what they ordinarily would do, it's not entrapment, right? So Krispy Kreme turning on the hot light wasn't entrapping me into coming in and eating donuts any more than the police entrapped this defendant. So I made my argument before the jury, and Clearly, they were persuaded. I got a guilty verdict, and I celebrated at the Krispy Kreme. But I tell you that story because it illustrates how important it is to be able to communicate what you're trying to say. And I was able to find my voice through reading and through writing and experiencing what other authors provided to me, a sort of a pathway for me to follow. Because if they could communicate with me what they were trying to tell me about their story, and one of the best ways that I can describe how I appreciate an author is that if you have a story or a character that you can somehow identify with, then you have a connection to that book or to that author. And that was what reading and literacy and writing and creative writing throughout my career as a student really helped me to find my voice. And now as a judge, it's even more important for me to be articulate and to be able to communicate my position to the attorneys who appear before me, to make sure that they know what my position is and so that they can act accordingly. And it's not only important that it be in accordance with the law, because when people come to court, they expect that the judge is going to settle a dispute and not make it more confusing, right? So those are the things that I sort of live by as I sit on the bench and throughout my career as an assistant district attorney and as an assistant solicitor. And I want to just commend all of you. It is an honor for me to be able to be here tonight to talk to you about my experiences and to hear your experiences already as young people and knowing what the laws of life are and interpreting them in your own way. And I would be remiss if I didn't also say how impressed I was that all of our winners are girls. So, I want to just encourage all of you to continue reading and writing and experiencing different authors and different ways of expressing yourself, because that was what helped me find my voice. That was what helped me to sort of come out of my shell and not be the shy young girl sort of sitting in the library just reading a book, but being able to stand before you, something that as a young person would probably be terrifying to me, and sometimes still is as I'm sitting on the bench, you know, because people expect that you will know the answer all the time. And as a judge, I have to remember, and I hope that you all remember, that even though we're sitting on that bench, we're still human beings. And we make mistakes, and we try our best every day to do the best job possible. And that's what you all have done. You have done the best that you can, and you've been recognized for that. And I want to commend you for it. So they told me to keep my remarks short, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my background and how I think that reading and writing has really led me down a career path that was really unexpected to me, but it's something that has been very rewarding. And I hope that as you all go on your career path, that you try new things and experience things that you probably wouldn't expect. And you never know when you may find yourself in a different situation that you didn't expect, and how rewarding and how important it can be to your development. So again, thank you all for allowing me to speak to you tonight, and congratulations to all of our winners. You all are girls that are ruling the world, and I'm proud of you. So thank you very much.